This is Right Side Radio. Now let's get into it. Kamala Harris's campaign is scrambling. With the election just weeks away, she's slipping in key battleground states, and the mainstream media is doing everything they can to spin the narrative in her favor. But make no mistake, Donald Trump is poised for a dominant win. Despite the media's insistence on highlighting narrow margins in certain states, Trump is significantly outperforming his 2020 numbers. In fact, against Harris, Trump is outshining the results he had even against Joe Biden, who was running a much stronger campaign. Today, we'll dive into the 2024 election map and explore the stark differences between the polling from 2020 and now. On the map, I've left the 17 most contested races unfilled and already marked the solid blue and red states. It's clear how much the landscape has shifted since 2020. Back then, Trump was struggling in states like Alaska, South Carolina, and Missouri, three states he is now expected to win by much wider margins. Meanwhile, Harris is barely holding on in states like Washington, New York, and New Jersey, which Biden won comfortably by 15 points or more in 2020. If you need more proof, just look at Florida. Trump is now leading by 6%, whereas 4 years ago, polls showed Biden slightly ahead. We'll start by looking west and move eastward, starting with Nevada, where Trump trails Harris by just 1.1% compared to the 2.4% gap he had against Biden in 2020. While Nevada doesn't show a massive change, it highlights just how much better Democrats were performing 4 years ago. Nevada is going to lean blue on our 2024 map, while it was solid blue in 2020. As we fill out the map, you'll notice Trump's growing support since 2020. In Arizona, Trump holds a 1.4% lead, and he's been widening that gap over the past few weeks. Back in mid-August, Harris briefly gained an edge, but that quickly disappeared. Now Trump has been steadily increasing his lead, and Arizona is shaping up to be a tilt-red state. 4 years ago, Biden was expected to win Arizona by nearly 1%. Moving on, Colorado and New Mexico are expected to lean blue again, but Harris is not performing nearly as well as Biden did in these states. In Texas, the situation is clear. Trump is projected to win by 5.2% compared to the razor-thin 1.3% margin predicted in 2020. Back then, Texas was considered a toss-up, with many thinking Biden could flip it. But Trump ended up winning by nearly 6 points, and now Texas is expected to be solidly in the GOP column. Looking to the Midwest, key states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania will be crucial. In Minnesota, Harris leads by 4.7%, but her margin is slimmer than Biden's in 2020. Trump is on track to retake Wisconsin, where he trails by less than 1%. In 2020, Biden led Wisconsin by over 6 points, but ended up winning by a much smaller margin. Wisconsin is likely to lean red this time. In Michigan, Harris leads by just 0.7%, far behind Biden's 4% advantage in 2020. Like Wisconsin, Michigan is expected to lean blue, but Trump could flip it. Ohio, on the other hand, shows Trump with a commanding 8% lead, and he's likely to win by an even larger margin. Ohio, which was tilt red in 2020, will be solidly red in 2024. Pennsylvania is the critical battleground, and whoever wins here is likely to win the election. Biden's polling in 2020 was accurate, but if Trump repeats his late surge, he could take Pennsylvania. Right now, the polls show a tie, but Trump has a slight edge, so Pennsylvania is likely to tilt red in 2024. Up in the Northeast, states like New Hampshire and Maine are expected to stay blue, though Harris's margins are smaller than Biden's in 2020. Virginia, however, shows a significant shift, with Harris leading by just 6.4% compared to Biden's 11-point lead. Virginia will lean blue in 2024, but it's trending right. In North Carolina, Trump is leading by 0.6%, and it will tilt red this year, unlike 2020 when it was a toss-up. Georgia is another battleground where Trump is in a much stronger position, leading by 1.5%. In 2020, Georgia leaned blue, but now it's expected to tilt red. Trump is performing better in Georgia than he did in 2020, and this time, the race isn't as close. Finally, let's look at Florida, where Trump is up by 6%. In 2020, the polls showed Biden slightly ahead, but now Trump is poised for a clear win. Comparing the 2020 and 2024 maps, you'll see a huge difference. Trump was only on track for 221 electoral votes in 2020, but in 2024, he's projected to win 281. Key states like Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania are leaning red, and if this momentum continues, Trump will win. Thank you for listening to Right Side Radio. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe as we head into the final stretch before the election.